What up, traders? What up, investors? Ken here from Dyslexic Investor, and thank you for tuning in for another fantastic live stream. We're going to be looking at this is the traditional Sunday stock watch, have fun, chat, talk about bulls and bears. Let's look at charts kind of scenario. Just a full disclosure: we are not going to be able to have one next week due to the fact that I will be out just for just a little R&R, little relaxation. What up, Alpaca? Thank you for joining, my friend. Again, everyone out there, can I get a thumbs up just in the chat if everything sounds great? Just setting up my charts here, looking up here. Currently seeing the S&P 500 futures up about 0.88%, so nearly 30 points. But yeah. Oracle won TikTok? Nice. Really? That would be awesome. Oracle is, what's the ticker symbol? ORCL. Well, it's not going to be up after hours, but we can kind of look at for that potential move. There was some strange movement coming in yesterday, but yeah. What up, David J? How you doing? Let's see. Alpaca Ryan, of course, thank you. Washley saying Oracle won the TikTok bid. That would be quite impressive. David J's can we look at Nikola? Yeah. Washley saying let's go Bears. Are you rooting for the football team or are you rooting for just the overall market for the Bears? That's crazy. I would love to see that Oracle bid. Catwalk says true story. Oracle won TikTok. That's so strange. Oracle won TikTok. Wow. Ryan with the complete out of left field comments. Of course, I have to somewhat to agree with you because I don't understand TikTok, to be quite honest, because I would have laughed if Vine was able to purchase, or YouTube would have been able to purchase it because, again, not YouTube, I'm sorry, Twitter, because they had Vine and it was basically the exact same thing. I honestly, it's literally the same thing. All right, let's go ahead and get started by looking at some charts. Here, currently got Oracle pulled up. Nothing to really write home about here in Oracle, but we'll see on how this plays out, especially tomorrow with that huge, pretty substantial news. We were kind of in a squeeze here, still tightly looking for that potential consolidation, looking for that target above $66.11 potentially to be hit to the upside if we get some positive news. If the market takes it as positive news, that I don't know how much they paid for it, but I think a lot of people were kind of letting Microsoft potentially win that the bid, or was considering the winning of the bid because of they were basically the front runner, I guess, for a lot of things. Crazy times, though. Crazy times. As we talked about earlier, we're looking at the futures. Go to the daily side. Kind of some key points, key stuff we need to take a look at here. I don't want to be hesitating to telling people to run for the hills or sell off or anything like that, but being mindful of, hey, the last couple days have been pretty hectic on the overall market, taking it down substantially from just on the future standpoint, from a swing high to the low of just Friday. We're talking, of course, that can't see that number. Get that number out of the way here. Uno second. Move my cord. Oopsies here. I go here. From swing high to swing low, we're looking about a little over 8% to the downside here. But that has been a pretty somewhat of a correctional, pretty much like it's an okay kind of pullback scenario. Same with the NASDAQ. Put out a couple things of just like we wanted to kind of see this continue to stay above that 50 SMA here to kind of see how things plays out. Oh, China has to approve of it too, Mr. Wright. Okay, I didn't know the workings of the deal. David J was asking about Nikola. Of course, I think everyone and their mother knows that Nikola is just the front pages of everything from the Heisenberg short report that from the folks over there who are basically bears or short sellers put out a pretty comprehensive report regarding about just a lot of allegations. Again, I'm not a judge. I'm not a lawyer. I think that everyone has a right to have a retort or to come back with something. I don't think it's going to be high hopes for the old Nikola because again, a lot of people are already disproving the truck presentation, and then of course some questionable about the former founder or the founder slash. I don't think he's the CEO anymore, but some of the stuff that he's did in his past, lying about potential evaluations and things like that, with really pretty emails and things like that. With this one, how low can it go? I don't know. It can go to 0. That's definitely a stopping point. I have been some short-term initial support around $29. But that being said, we can see this go quite lower if we do the Fibonacci extensions here from the swing high to the swing low to the swing high. We're really looking for basically it can come down to 22. 40 or 1481 would be potential support kind of coming in there. Kirsten says this crook. Yeah, I again, it doesn't look good, right? It doesn't look good. What up, Alan? Thanks for joining, my friend. This definitely is a very well beaten up stock, and we'll see how this really plays out. This is definitely going to be one to watch from the sidelines. I don't want to be coming in here and just being the just jump on the bandwagon, just shorting it with everyone else, because that easy money has already somewhat been made. But we'll see how this one plays out. If it really is a long-term short position, then we'll have plenty more times to short it if you want to get into that. Ryan says, I bought some QQQ Friday. To the long side, Ryan? Yeah, QQQ, like again, I don't think this is going to be a full-on like breakdown and a bearish move here. But if it does want to break down the QQQs, the initial support is where it's at right now. I think we can definitely enter the kangaroo market, which we're pretty sure we all know about. What we look at is basically the yellow line is the 21 EMA. It's been an upward trend. It's kind of been coming off here a little bit. And then looking to kind of trade choppy. So again, this is what chop means is basically we're getting pretty large swings up and down, just trading, basically doing nothing. So we also have a triple witching expiration this on Friday, which basically kind of ensues in a lot of different things of, hey, normally the market will chop and jump around a lot, but it's not the world's greatest time to buy in and different various to kind of especially with options, because again, it's going to be very choppy potentially for the next week to kind of see how things play out. So be very mindful of that. Oh, you went long shares. Yes, that Snowflake IPO is coming out. Is it Wednesday? I heard prices above $90 potentially for that, and as well. That could definitely be the IPO, they say, of the year if what's the other one? The Airbnb doesn't go along with it. But this thing is definitely that Snowflake IPO is definitely one that I'm hearing so many people talk about. And I'm a little concerning because again, everyone just wants to go long. That price, it could just skyrocket and just go unreasonably high for no apparent reason. And I think a lot of people could just be buying it because they're hearing their neighbor or someone on YouTube telling them to buy it because it's the IPO of the year. So just be very mindful of that. And I'm not going to honestly participate because I'm not able to get it at a very decent price. So I have to basically I knew you were going to say that. I'm not going that deep into snow. We'll see on how it plays out, but it's going to be very difficult to get a very good price because normally those IPOs come in around 11:30 in the morning Eastern Standard Time, and as soon as those things take off, the volume is so insane. I can't even tell you, like that price movement is absolutely insane. Like it will jump around like $20-$30 at a time, and it would come back down. It just, there's a lot of people trying to run and get in front of that. But we'll see how that things out. David, Trevor Milton needs to stop lying about things and own up to his. Yeah, I agree. Show me the money. Show me the proof. Right. You're welcome for the input, my friend. SY says, "Yo, everyone, what's up, SY? Thank you for joining back again. Really appreciate everyone again coming out. We just talked about some old Nikola. Of course, that was basically on everyone's mind, so it'd be definitely fun to watch. And of course, Snowflake coming up as an IPO as well. Couple other ones that we wanted to potentially discuss. I know a lot of people were talking about Workhorse. So Workhorse has been one that is just been kind of a beast here. Even though with the market kind of pulling back, it was still been some potential movements to go forth. I'm looking at this one to potentially hold here around the 22-ish range. If it can hold here and some good news come out, we can definitely see that 25 to even 28 target really come into fruition. But to the downside, we're looking for some support basically in the short term around 20.86 and then down all the way to around $19 to $18 to that side. Alpaca saying Nikola going to 11 tomorrow. We'll see. Well, it's going to be a very interesting time. I just find it strange, everything I find, like GM's just being quiet about it. Like they're not really saying anything. I wonder if GM's the one who literally just took their 11% stake and just sold it in the open market. Hey, how did you guys get $2 billion in a week? Don't worry about it. Yeah, a lot of news. Like a lot of news. I think, like we talked about in the beginning of the head of the hour, is basically we could see a lot of chop, a lot of things coming forth, particularly this week, and how things play out. Ryan says bank stocks still a good buy. I think so. Again, I'm doing it longer term, Ryan. So XLF is basically the spider ETF that tracks all the financial and banks. Basically, the best way to kind of gauge how things are going. Looking for, excuse me, some consolidation here around that $24-$25 price target. We have that squeeze setting up here as well. I think if we get any good positive economic news or anything like that, we can easily pop out of this range here and get above 26 to really hit that target about 28.41. Again, I'm much longer term on the overall financials, so I'm looking around basically 31 and even to 35. I know that seems pretty insane for financials, but I'm looking for this to kind of start getting some life back, even though with interest rates being zero. Definitely, I think it has some looking for some potential to the upside there. What up, Dan? How you doing? What stock is mooning and tanking this week? I think we all can kind of pursue that. Nikola is definitely going to be one that's going to be on the short list on that side. Which one could be mooning? I don't know. I think some of like the home builders, maybe like Lennar. I don't know about mooning, but I think that we're going to see some pretty good positive data coming out here, so we'll see how that plays out. Let's see here. Make sure I don't miss anything. SY says Oracle and TikTok. Microsoft loses. Yeah, again, like it's so weird to have both those companies trying to bid for like a really strange app like TikTok, like Oracle. Like Oracle is known for databasing and then having some other wins of that, but this seems a little strange for that. We'll see how Microsoft stock reacts to this tomorrow. We're looking for some short-term support. Basically, we're going to call it at 200 to the downside here. If that can break below that, and then we're looking for some initial support around 192. So I actually added this in back to my charts. It's the 144, which is a Fibonacci number. Moving averages to kind of show some longer-term potential support to the downside. Oh, Alan with the $2. Thank you, my friend. CWH Camping World having an analyst meeting on Tuesday. Yes, I did see that. I read that. Definitely with that news, we can see, again, again, with those kind of, I think it's one of the better ways to, I guess, folks, because they can't really leave the country or do many things. They're more or less just kind of just hanging out and going buying camping stuff. And I think, Alan, do they sell guns at Camping World? Do they? Dan with the $3 with a thumbs up. Thank you, Dan, my friend. With this one, we're looking for the Camping World. Potentially, kind of had this, like, the earnings didn't do very well. I wonder what happened here on what was like really a miss. I think it was probably more of like a hype train going into earnings here, but had a pretty strong pullback. Didn't really break that $30 level, which we potentially could see to hold. With this looking to kind of potentially build support around that $30 level to try that momentum and try to get back up to $38.16 is somewhat we could potentially see. But to the downside, you saw that initial support coming around $30. So I don't know, I'm not too well versed in the overall Camping World stuff because I'm not really a camper. But yeah, that's definitely going to be one interesting to watch on the weekly chart. Yeah, that support to the longer term support on the downside is going to be coming around 25. But normally with analyst days, it's not usually the biggest mover, if I'm correct, unless they can just really come out and just really blow some socks off. Kelly D says, "Hey everyone, special treat to 2 nights in a row of Dyslexic Investor Streaming. What do you guys think about the online retail COs, Redfin, Zillow, and Rocket?" So Kelly, that's a great segue. So I bought some Zillow on this little pullback here. I kind of like this setup here. Was it Zillow? Maybe I'm getting mixed up with Redfin. I think it was Redfin actually. No, it was Zillow. Was it Zillow? I'm lost now. Hang on one second. Yeah, it was Zillow. Sorry. Zillow setting up here. I think I actually bought it on like a weird time frame here. Let me hold on. I think I bought it on the 4-hour. Yeah, I bought it on the 4-hour chart. I saw this pattern setting up here. It's kind of was kind of just watching it. I'm looking for this potentially to kind of set up here, holding that 21 EMA, willed with the support above $80, potentially to see this kind of make a cup and maybe a handle or start test that high around 95 again, playing that overall home building. Everyone kind of with low interest rates, mortgages are going to be basically at zero. I wouldn't say free money, but the interest rates are super low, so be mindful of that. LeBron James has said, "Why your audio so quiet, man? Is my audio really quiet, everyone, or he just needs to turn it up?" I think I had it up on the normal setting. I put a little filter on it to kind of get rid of the pop feeling. Yeah, Brian says we can do Rocket. Yeah, let's do like at Rocket too. That's one of the also a newer IPO that just recently came out as well, with the overall again stay-at-home stuff. This one has kind of been beaten up here. Again, we're looking on the daily side. We're seeing that potential support kind of coming in around that 2250-ish range where we talked about where the 200 kind of line up here, potentially looking to hopefully start building a base between that $22 to $21, and start seeing the 5 and 8 moving averages starting to curl and level off here, and potentially see some movement higher to start getting some better prices coming in to start getting above that $23 to even $25, which was those previous 78.6 percentile moves in those Fibonacci numbers. It's kind of low compared to the other videos. Okay, let's see here. What if I take this off? Hang on. How about now? Does that sound better? Testing. I know, I guess I have to get a booster or something for it. All right, so Rocket, sorry, the chat kind of moved really fast on here. Someone else said space. Yeah. Yes, Virgin Galactic Space, one of the original OGs of the SPAC stuff. We'll see how this plays out. We're looking for that potential movement to kind of come in. We'll see the Really tight consolidation around this lower band of about $16-17. Potentially looking for the squeeze to fire again, that tightness of squeeze. The only thing is the volume zone oscillator has been somewhat annoying here, and not really participating for the bulls to really kick in. Again, it had the huge run into earnings, kind of had a failing, and then kind of came really right back down. Now it's kind of just trading sideways here, holding that $16-ish, $17-ish range, potentially waiting for the next news, next launch, or whatever that potentially could launch us into the next stratosphere. Okay, David's cool. Sounds good. Okay, so that potential move to around $21 to $25 to the upside. Again, this is going to be heavy news driven. It has to some kind of catalyst needs to come out and potentially get this to move substantially higher. Timothy, book for your book club thinking is bets making smarter decisions while you don't have all the facts. Yeah. Great. So I don't know if anyone joined on the live stream yesterday. I know people did, but the overall, I got a Zoom 100 and 250 people Zoom license thing majigger, so we could potentially do a book club. I don't know if I'm going to do it through a Zoom or through YouTube because I don't know how to properly interact with other people. So I might have to do it just for the members or the live stream members. I don't know how I'm going to do it quite yet, or if people feel comfortable talking on the microphone or whatever. I don't know. It was just an idea that I'm just kind of throwing around. Tom Van Horn, I love the channel. Thank you, my friend. Appreciate it. Ryan says Adobe earnings coming up. Ugh, Adobe. That's been a tough one, right? That one nearly has shook me and really gave me a ride for a little bit here. Looking for initial support to kind of hold here at the lower levels at 258, but this thing has just been all over the place. Like even with earnings coming out, I think that it doesn't matter. Actually, the stock doesn't care what I think. I think it should do well due to the fact that it's Adobe has a pretty large skew and has the market leader in a lot of things. That doesn't mean anything, honestly. Looking for here at the chart here, for initial some support coming in around that, again, $458, potentially support here to the upside target. Longer term, we're looking for around the $561. With earnings this week, we're looking for a pretty substantial price move of $40 plus or minus, so that could put it up above that little higher price range, which is basically kind of coming out at 510, 512 range, which is kind of would probably potentially change those parabolic SAR dots there. LeBron says Nvidia. Yeah, I love me some Nvidia. This one has been beaten up with a lot of those other tech stocks that we've seen here. Not as much as other ones because it's coming back to that 34 EMA. We are seeing the 5 and 8 moving averages can still kind of coming to the 21 EMA. If these 5 and 8 moving averages can potentially slow down or not even cut through the 21, that would be a really fantastic sign for a potential buying opportunity at these levels, basically at 479, call it 480 to around basically 500 is a short-term buy if you're going to be swinging it. If you're going to be investing it, longer-term trading, you really want a pretty more substantial pullback to around 400 at some key levels there. But this can easily come down to basically 500, or sorry, it's a 50-day moving average is around $453 to that as well. But this one has been a completely skyrocketing stock. Of course, it's been in a lot of the heads of just trading. It's been at a new graphics card announcement with a 3000 series, and it's just been a lot really hyped up. And again, I think it really ran a little too hot and kind of got burnt, and now it's kind of coming back down. Alexander says TSM. Yeah, we look at TSM. So TSM, I own that as well. We're looking for this potential to consolidate. It has not been beaten up as much as Other companies, especially in the semiconductor space, if you look at AMD, even Nvidia or whatever like that, those chip stocks that we call some, not as semiconductors, but more like the chip stocks, the things that require other things to run, especially in this new world. With this one, this looks like a really nice pattern. Potential low short-term support around 76 can come down to 75 potentially for more downward support. But if it starts breaking below the $70 level, that would be somewhat on a scary sense on a very larger pullback moves. Potentially looking for this to consolidate in this box here and get that next move higher above the $88 price target. But downside, we're really looking for it to hold around 75, 76. If it doesn't, we could be going down to 70 there, my friend. Hey Dan, what's up, my friend? We have not done Apple. Let's do Apple. Boop doop boop doo. So with the old Apple, of course, this one has been pretty beaten up here. Got hit with the news on the sense of just a lot of mischief of the SoftBank folks running up the stock. With this one, the 5 and 8 have crossed through the 21 EMA, but potentially looking for some support coming in here around the 50-day, which is around the 108 to 107 level to the downside support. If that doesn't hold, we're really looking for some targets around 100 and then all the way down to around like 90. So key points, we just kind of want to keep it staying in this box here potentially. If it can stay in this box, we want to kind of build a strong base here between that 21, 34, even down to the 50-day, and see this potentially just trade sideways and get those moving averages back and repaired up and start getting up to that upward trend again. Maria KT says UVXY. Yeah, that's going to be a hard one to kind of gauge the UVXY because, again, those are just more like trading derivative in the sense of like short-term the VIX moves. And the chart really doesn't do very much. So if you want me to look at that, I can look at the VIX overall. The VIX, again, had that huge pop, even though the last couple of days we've sold off quite a bit in the tech stocks. That really didn't translate too much in a lot of VIX options buying or a lot of movement. It actually fell quite a bit here in the last couple of days here. It had that huge pop up to around 36, but then kind of, which normally in VIX suits, has a huge pop, then does kind of retraces back, and this kind of subsides and waits for the next fear move to come in place, unless you have something like the pandemic. It just really just runs up and it just explodes to a very extreme levels. But this one has definitely looking to just continue to probably stay around the $26 to $30 level. Probably can even get on the $20 level if we get some really good economic news with potential vaccine. Goldman Sachs says Wall Street fear gauge is flashing a warning sign unseen since the dot-com crash in 2000, Business Insider. Yeah, okay. I think a lot of people have said that, but let's the NASDAQ was very hot, but I think with that's really strong correction in the NASDAQ, this kind of really shook a lot of people out, because look all that volume that came in those past 3 or 4 days of just folks just really selling out. That we're seeing almost the same kind of volume, just slightly. Let's look at this chart here. We can kind of see here on the daily, we saw nearly double the amount of average volume within the NASDAQ those couple days of just completely negative selling and that downward move. I'm not saying this move is over, but we're at a very key level. If we want to go higher, we need to start making this stop from bleeding and just kind of hold that 50-day simple moving averages and trade sideways. But if we want this to go higher or go lower, we're at that key level where anything could potentially put a little bit too much weight on the scale and really bring us lower. Initially looking at some low levels, basically around the 10,500 to 10,600 here within the NASDAQ. Yeah, VIX is down. Plays for Apple this week. I don't really have anything many plays for Apple this week. I'm just going to be looking for if it can hold the current status here, or if it can stay above 107. What do you think about Square, says Clayton? I like Square. I'm just not a biggest fan of Jack Dorsey, honest opinion. Potentially looking here for that 50-day simple moving average to hold. This thing has a huge run up. I think, again, got a little bit ahead of itself, and now it's kind of coming back just slightly here. Again, with a lot of those other tech heavy stocks, it's kind of consolidating here, potentially looking for some support on its previous high at around 133. And then initial support more to the downside is around 128. If we can hold within that range and build a nice strong base, we could see easily kind of start coming back up to 140 to 147. Hoorah, what's up, my friend? Yeah, I think, yeah, if it can build a strong base here on Square, I think it should be just fine. But just again, I'm not going to be betting the farm on it, but the understanding of, hey, this potentially could go down if the overall market does go down. So just be mindful of that. I don't have a crystal ball. I don't know what can happen. I'm just here to kind of ride shotgun with the market. What about United Healthcare? Is that UNH? This one's kind of been beaten up due to the fact of presidential candidates just kind of smashing pharmaceutical companies and healthcare overall and all kinds of various things. This is a very not a pretty chart if you're going to try to be long it. We had that potential trading pattern between 315 and 306. It has clearly broken below that, looking for that $300 price to hold. If it doesn't, we're looking for basically 295 down to 288 to the downside. We have a squeeze setting up here, and the last couple of squeezes have fired. It says fired substantially to the downside, but again, these other two squeezes have fired long. But with the 5 and 8 crossing over, could be potentially looking for a bottom around 300 to around 295. But we won't know unless the squeeze fires to the downside, and we'll have to make our base building or potential levels of resistance at that time. Because we have taken on a lot of bit of damage here. If you look on the weekly chart, this thing has been, this is a monthly chart. If you look on the weekly chart, it's kind of coming at a key level here around that 300-ish range. If that can't hold, we're going to be basically looking for some support around 295, and then it's basically down to like 280-ish. So that's for UNH. Greg says, what are my thoughts on SQQQQ? SQQQQ is basically the same thing like the VIX, but this is just like a shorter, ultra short ETF, I think. This thing it's very hard to gauge this kind of thing because, again, it's a derivative, and it is making somewhat of a bounce here. Is it going to happen a bounce like that we just saw during the pandemic? I don't know, but this is normally a downward trending stock, and this is something you don't invest in. You literally you buy it because you think that the market's gonna come have a correction, or it's gonna come down more than 5 to 10% in a couple days or a week, because you don't want to hold this long term because the overall trend is continuous lower. So you're really just betting on the overall market coming down. And again, Greg, I'm not saying the whole overall market's coming down, but it's a valid point. Like the QQQ or the NASDAQ has been very oversold, and we saw some negative buying coming in even on Friday, with a nice little pop coming towards the end of the day, really giving this candle somewhat some strength here. But the overall trend is still somewhat kind of chop. So it needs to start proving itself. The bears need to come in and the bulls need to come in to kind of really start building this to the upside. We don't want an upside and then fail at a certain level and get a dead cat bounce and then just kind of really retrace and just take on more damage. The damage has been done. We're really looking to potentially kind of trade sideways and really build a strong base that we can potentially leap upon if on the bull side to get on a higher price. Alpaca says, what are your thoughts on love? I love love. What is love? Not good. This out of the way. Love is one of my favorite. Excuse me. Hiccups. One of my favorite airlines. This one is really trying to make a comeback. I think with the airlines that just been so suppressed and so beaten down and lagging. Really have some key levels here at the 200 EMA. Potentially, if they can break above this and get some momentum, again, it really needs some strong economic news, potential another stimulus package, another just overall good news for travel slash airfare. It could be easily come up to 42 to $43. Yeah, you got to be very careful what people say. Like, if you put a header on your YouTube video that says market crashing, that doesn't mean I think that people need to be mindful. Like, I don't know what's going to happen, but things need to prove itself before it does need to happen. Alan says ABT Abbott Labs. I think yeah, I love this one actually. That's a good stock. With Abbott Labs really coming in here, with this one, really potentially just trading sideways at that 102 to 103, really getting some potential kick higher. Because again, we had that kick higher, I think, due to the vaccine or whatsoever, but it kind of gave it right back. Now, kind of trading between that 103 ish range. If we can start building a nice strong base here, get that momentum, and get RSI and volumes on oscillator to kick higher, we could be looking for that 108 target to kind of test once again. What up, Makeshift, my friend? Thanks for joining, my friend. Joshua says Oral's gonna go boom. Yeah, we'll see how that's gonna be an interesting one for sure. I am a shoulder deep in TTQQ calls 120, 118. Is TQQQ a inverse of a short position on Qs? I haven't traded that one. Also, SPXL. I don't know what SPXL is. Are those one of those leverage ETFs there, Ryan? But Diamond Shares SPX Bull ETF. Okay, these are longer term. Okay. Yeah, so this is basically you're just hedging on a really strong move to the upside in the short term. You're welcome, Greg. Appreciate it. Thanks for joining and watching. I think that doom on Main Street will finally hit Wall Street. Just too much volatility and wild speculation. I think a lot of the wild speculation is really still coming in from a lot of the retail sides, honestly. Let's see here. Alex SE. I haven't heard. Oh, No one's talked about SE in a long time. What has that been doing? So C Unlimited. Ooh, that's a pretty looking stock. That's looking like it really wants to hold around that 137 range. Ooh, I like that. Ooh, I like that. I like that. Nice. Good call there, Alexander. Looking for that potential to this can hold around 137 range, which is the previous 1272 extension. If that can hold here, get some momentum, get some of that volume zone oscillator and RSI to kick higher, we could easily see 147 and easy test that 155 to 156 range as well. Great shade. TQQ is leverage ETF. Okay, so it's to the upside. Dustin says PEIX. PEIX. Pacific. What is this? I'm not sure what this is. This is a penny stock that just took off. What in the world? I don't trade penny stocks. Pacific Ethanol. This looks, yeah, nothing. I can't really add much to this because it's a penny stock, but it's looking like a really large FOMO trade, and it looks like to around $4 to the downside support. If it can hold $4, that trend is still intact. If not, we're looking for above $5. Interesting chart without a doubt. Not sure what they do, but the trend looks pretty interesting. Looking for the potential breakout again above 5 to potentially start testing the higher levels of 6 to 616. That's an interesting one. I might put that down on the list just to kind of see on how that one plays out, or actually look up what actually they do. Thanks for sharing there, Dustin. David Litt says Oracle TikTok deal question mark. Yeah, people are just telling me that it came through. I don't. My thoughts are just like, I don't know. It seems strange that Oracle's buying that a social-ish media company. That's weird. Makeshift, I have not done Fastly. Let's go look at Fastly. Fastly, of course, has been beaten up. This has been just a huge issue here with a lot of people getting really speculative. Again, this is due to a lot of the TikTok stuff. Potentially, again, is TikTok was one of their partners or one of the larger people of using the service. I think that, again, we'll see on how this plays out tomorrow. Fundamentally, I'm not sure, but looking for that potentially to recover if it does go well, because again, this has been a very high flyer, so any kind of little bit of negative news can really take it off, because again, I don't think there's going to be a lot of strong hands in the stock. I don't think a lot of people actually understand what's going on here as well. It's a beat down dog on the side of the road. Yeah, I think it's the sadly thing is but at any time it could just really make a strong reversal. I just think there's just too much fundamental stuff tied to that TikTok deal stuff. Is your name Josh? No, my name's Ken. Snap. He says Snap. Josh says Snap. Was Snap. So Snap actually did a little hoodwink on me. It was one I wanted to trade. It shook me out, but then I should have got right back in. And it really came to that price level that we're looking at $24 to $25. Potentially, if we're going to want to see this price to go higher, we need to see some more strength come in. We did have a squeeze. We're 3 days out of it. Potentially looking for 25.50 if that can really get some moving action going there. But again, downside support basically in the short term coming around 22.67. Army of Goose says, I'm staying safe with Walmart WMT. Yep, I like Walmart as well. I like that 130-ish range, 137-ish. That 137 range is my initial kind of just consolidating, potentially just trading sideways. It can easily come down to 133 and I'll be just fine with it. But this thing looks like a very strong stock. Even on the weekly side, this thing has looking to potentially want to continue going higher, looking for the initial price target around 160 there. PEIX makes ethanol and makes hand sanitizer. Now I'm scalping it. Okay. Thank you, Dustin, for sharing. Nathan says EVFM. EVFM. Ugh. What is this? I don't know what this is. This looks this doesn't look pretty at all. It's really been beaten up. Potentially even looking further to the downside, it's hitting like an all-time low here. It looking like it potentially could bounce here at 180-ish, where it was previously, but that I have nothing to really add there. That's not a very it's kind of a, I want to say it's not a penny stock, but it's definitely something that's just like taken on too much damage, and the chart pattern just doesn't look very normal here. Because again, just literally got beaten down on some kind of news last week and doesn't look very pretty at all. Josh says, please take a look at FRP. Is that Fresh Pet? FR. Don't get me started on that one, Josh. Why did you have to bring that one up? Josh, did you not know that I owned a pretty large portion of this many years ago as when it IPO'd? I owned a lot of it around 15 or I don't know, way back here. And then I sold it when it hit 20, and now it's at $116. Because I owned Blue Buffalo Dog Company too. I don't know what I was doing. I was owning a bunch of, I don't even own a dog, but I was owning a bunch of pet food companies. But this thing looks absolutely insane, right? Absolutely insane. Wow. Beautiful looking stock. On the short time, looking at it now, potentially looking for some consolidation here around the 108 down to 105. Again, building that nice strong pattern in that range here, then potentially seeing the volume zone oscillator and RSI to kick higher to potentially test that 115 to 116 price target. Downside support is going to be initially coming in if it's breaking below 105 to around 100. But again, this has been a very strong looking chart here since the overall pandemic. Looking at Etsy, yeah, we look at Etsy. Etsy's kind of getting a little bit of obliterated here, lack of better words. It's below the 50-day, potentially looking for some base building around that 112-ish range, but it's actually not really looking that pretty because the 5 and 8 moving average is still aggressively pointing to the downside. I had a potential target basically around this level, around 100, basically 103 to 100 to kind of be potential some downside support if the overall stock can level off, because again, that squeeze and that momentum has been pretty large to the downside. So it's going to be a very tough one that kind of recover from all that damage. But again, anything that being said, that can easily just make a complete about face. Josh, we just did Fresh Pet, my friend. Ken, are you playing Nikola on the downside with the report and the investigation? No, I missed it, and I'm not the world's fastest, not the fastest on the draw on trying to short things, and it's very much a timing thing. But I think I shorted. I checked the box. I shorted Nikola way back when. Um, I wish I would have held it longer, but we shorted it right about that one. I think it was right about here. I don't remember. It was like $67 or $50, but we had that pretty large move down. I think it was up here maybe, and then we sold it down here a little bit, around that $50. But I could have held it all the way down here. But you live and you learn, right? Any IPOs I'm going to watch, David? No, not really. I'm not a big fan of a lot of the IPOs. I want to get Snowflake, but I think that's just going to run up too high and just want to go too crazy. Kevin Kim says AMD. Yeah, we can cover AMD. I own the AMD. AMD is a little bit scary here as well. It has a broken blast the 50-day, but we're looking for some support coming around that $73 potentially to kind of potentially bounce here. But some of the damage has already been done with the 5 and 8 moving average kind of crossing into this. So potentially seeing some overall hopefully a stronger recovery with the overall market tomorrow, and that AMD can start building a base and make its way higher, getting above that $80 to $81 price target. But if it really starts breaking below $74, it could be somewhat of a free fall all the way down to around $65 to $63. Brent says PRPL, is that purple? PRPL. Oh. PRPL. Yeah, this one has been horrible quarter. Really kind of made a bounce here around that $16 target, which was at 100% downward move here, and now really making a really pretty, not a complete V-shaped bottom, but it's making a pretty strong recovery. If we can break above that 2365, which is the 618 of that swing high to swing low, potentially looking for 25, then trying to test 27. But if that overall momentum can continue with all this buying, we're looking for potential $30 to $34 price target within the old purple mattress. Thank you for everyone for joining, my friends. I appreciate it. And if you haven't already, I would greatly appreciate a high five through the screen and also a thumbs up if you don't mind hitting on that comment little bar or whatever it's called on YouTube now. Let's see here. David, this is HCAC. HCAC. This is some kind of SPAC or something? Hennessy Cap. What is this one, Alexander? Which one is this one, David? This looks interesting. Another SPAC here. HCAC. Is this another potential EV company here? Or who are they trying to acquire here? I'm not seeing anything. Let me Google it around here. Doop-a-doop-a-doo. HCHC stock. Capitalizations comes. Not anything here. Los Angeles EV startup rides SPXV wave to play the fully NASDAQ listing. Okay. Another somewhat of an EV company potentially trying to profit on a quick SPAC move, it looks like, eh? There's nothing really to add. It's going to be very difficult because, again, these SPACs are so difficult to really get into fruition here. If we get any further move to the upside, we're looking for potentially breaking that 11.16 to start getting up to those higher prices above 12 to then $14. Again, not all SPACs are equal. It doesn't mean that it. What's the other one? That's the Lordstown one, Diamond something, DPHC. This thing is really just taken off as well, and I see this one popping up on a lot of people's chats and videos to potentially see this really hype up to that like $33 to potentially even higher. Like, I have no idea what the price could be, but I think they're just better off than a Nikola play, honestly. Alex says also Uber. Yeah, Uber is one that is interesting because I had a nice little bump into this whole week while everything was going down. Potentially looking for some resistance overhead around that $37 to $38, which we saw previously. If it bounces off this, we could easily come back down to that 33-ish range. But if we can break through that with a lot of momentum and just some strength, we can easily see $41 to try to test those all-time highs there. Clayton says D-King, another one that's been a tough one to play this. Oh, D-K-N-G. A tough one for me to play this year. I did an oopsies. I did a fat finger move, and I thought I sold it, but I didn't. And then I figured out, I'm like, why do I have all this red in my account on this position? I held it and I never got sold out of it. Then I sold it at a pretty substantial loss way down here on below 30. But then it just made a nice little recovery. Again, due again to this whole overall sports betting. Sports finally coming back. We're looking for initial support here around $41. Potentially if it can get above $44.79, we're easily looking for around $50 and then $55 to the upside. Okay, this is Adobe. I swung 9K of 500 Adobe for the. Oh, Kyle, no, don't, please don't YOLO the money like that. Please be careful. Oh, I spelled that wrong. Do I have Adobe on here? Oh, there it is. So with Adobe, it's been really beaten up, but this is one of the stocks that can really just recover really fast. I'm not a fan. I don't approve of the YOLO trading there, Kyle, but be very careful with earnings, especially on earnings. It doesn't mean it has to do anything. but $500 is within the cards because the overall expected move is $41 this week. So you're within the standard deviation of that move. But I think that's a very much a large bet. I hope that 9K is about 5% of your overall net lick of your portfolio, and that's not like 95% of your portfolio, because if it doesn't do well, and like we talk about on the trades here, especially earnings is a coin flip. Yes, it can go to the moon. Yes, the stock can easily go to 500 potentially, but it can easily go back down to 450 if it wants. So I just want to be fully aware of the risk of that. So please be careful, my friend. What is the new greenish moving average? So that is the 144 exponential moving average. I kind of added in just to kind of see. It's a 144 is also a fib number, so I kind of wanted to add it in there to kind of see on how it looks like on the chart. Okay, chat's coming in really fast here. Hold on one second. Let's see here. Did I miss this? NNOX. Is that Novavax? Nova. NIOX Imaging. Never heard of it, but that's a great looking stock there, my friend. I have nothing to add there. If you're in this, you are riding a nice little high flyer. You're really just riding that 5 and 8 moving averages and just continue to go higher. It's going to be very hard to do any Fibonacci or potential extensions on here. That initial price target around $64 could kind of come in, but that's a large move, 33% in one day. The next overhead target's at $86, but this is a great looking chart. I'm hoping you're taking some profits on that, my friend. Great little round of applause on that one. I'll give you a little round of applause on the microphone there. Julia said Julia Ripple Apple. Yeah, we can look at Apple once again. It's a pretty big, a lot of people's portfolio. Apple again has been beaten down due to those the selling off of a lot of those NASDAQ tech heavy stuff. We're seeing the 5 and 8 kind of cross to the 21, potentially just trading sideways here on the 34, potentially showing some support around 108 to 107. 108, 107 is going to be definitely some strong support to potentially to hold and see a potential bounce to the upside. If the 107 doesn't really hold, we're really looking for around $100 to the downside. FedEx predictions. So I own FedEx longer term positions as well. I have a longer term can't speak. Longer term earnings. Long term earnings. Yeah. Oh my God. One second. Let me drink some water. For FedEx, I think that it could easily go higher in the longer term. On earnings, we'll see on how that plays out. I think it had a pretty nice earnings run. It didn't like blast off, but even with his last earnings, it had a pretty large deviation of move, and it really just has been really rising up slowly and steady from that. Looking for potential support here around 234. If it can really break past 234, the next target is around 275, which was like a previous high. If we go to the weekly side, potentially even coming down to like 250, 257 to the upside. To the downside, we're looking for some support to the downside around 203 and even down to that 200 EMA, which is basically around the 193 level on the weekly. But so 203 and then 188-ish level to the downside. FedEx is frisbee with your promise. It's merging with KMO. What? Yeah, okay. That's interesting. We'll see how that plays out. SPACs. Okay, charts is Ryan says puts on kids kidney stone. I love you. Kid, like I did have I didn't have a kidney stone. I have one lodged in my back, but they say a lot of people have that, but they don't do anything. They sometimes just stay there for the rest of your life. Ken doesn't approve of your YOLO move. I cannot without being my fiduciary responsibility to let you do that. Josh, this is how about work? What's up, Josh? What's up, my friend? Work, of course, Slack kind of really been beaten up here, as you know, sadly, with earnings. Even though they made a profit and they broke even, people didn't give a rat's you know what. Potentially looking for, we can look at some support to the downside. This is one that just has not been able to get out of its own way. Key levels here around 25.30, potential to kind of build a base, even to around 27.40 to potentially start building a base in this 2 range. Could be range bound to potentially see a base building material or base building a platform here to kind of potentially go higher. We started getting below that 25. We're looking for around 22.66, 64 to the downside there, Josh. And thanks for coming out, my friend, again. Someone says I have SPY. I got the 330 puts. So you got to be very careful with puts because puts are going to be very highly elevated, and you might have a lot of people who had puts coming in Friday and over the weekend, and we could see a lot of those puts just being burnt to hell. In the sense of potentially those folks who potentially had them can't deal with the pain. I'm not saying that the market's going to be crashing, but I think we could easily get somewhat of a little bit of a sentiment bounce tomorrow to the upside. Will it last? I don't know. To really have the bulls kind of come back into play, we really need to see that price to get back above that 340-ish range and get those moving averages back above the 21 to keep that trend going higher. To the downside, really looking for that basically your 330 put to continue to close below it and then just really drive the price lower from there. Ryan, yes, TMO looks really good. It's kind of making a weird consolidation pattern here. Even though it had like a V-shaped recovery here, this still looks like a very strong pattern, potentially looking for, I thought I had a target on this. Potential target around 452 to the upside. Leo says, can we look at Facebook? Yeah, Facebook, of course, has been one that's really been beaten up as well. Not as much as other ones. Again, it hasn't broken below the 50-day here, but we're seeing the early signs of the 5 and 8 potentially trying to cross through the 21 to that downside here to kind of see that potential support kind of come in at that 50-day. But we're looking for the 34 EMA potentially to kind of hold this pattern. Let me get rid of this real fast and then I'll Control Z. To potentially see this kind of potentially consolidate here between the 21 and 34. But if this wants to continue to the downside, we're looking for initial support coming in around 258. But then coming back here to the fib, we're looking for some, if it can hold this pattern basically around the 270-ish range to start seeing that movement and get it back above that 275 to 276 there, my friend. Yeah, I think did the Chinese finally approve of Nvidia buying ARM? Has that been approved there? Paradon, did I say that right? Curious, curious. What do you think about Nikola? Nikola's not a. Nikola's in a lot of trouble. With this one, we looked for if it doesn't recover tomorrow and more selling comes in, I definitely could see that price target break below 30 and get around $22. But we'll see on how if there's a limit or something that we could see some potential lack of what is I'm trying to say? or if they come out with some like a video or something like that, or I don't know what they can come out. They really need to start coming out and start telling the truth. Ryan says running the wheels on workforce has been great. Yes, I definitely agree. Makeshifts to shop. Let's look at shop. Yeah, how's that been? How did that hold up on Friday? I don't think I looked at that on Friday. Yeah, kind of. That's sad. Really like kind of like Etsy, just really been beaten down here since it's been one of the pandemic like stock market lovers here. But really with the 5 and 8 crossing through here, potentially looking for some support in the short time around 900 to the downside. But again, those 5 and 8 moving averages pretty aggressively to the downside. So we'll see how this plays out. But definitely would be one to watch because again, this has been a fairly large market leader though. Boris, what's up, my thing? I think all of the short squeezes that got destroyed until Wednesday, melting with Theranos. Yeah, AAPL. Theranos. The Thanos. I was thinking of Theranos, the Nikola, the blood lady. Um, I think, yeah, again, Powell can say a lot of things, but Powell doesn't have so much control over the market. I think a lot of people are really looking for a potential stimulus check, honestly. I really think maybe some more blank checks to some of the bigger companies. I don't know what people are really looking for. We just need some things that are turning around, especially with some of those, sadly, the smaller mom and pop shops that have not been able to survive this really bad pandemic, and even though they were forced to close, they needs to make it right for them, I believe. Kelly, what's up? Thoughts on PRU long term? PRU long term. Uh, Another financial stock. Is this financial or is this insurance? Long term, look here on the weekly side. I like it. It has been really beaten up here. Again, thanks to the virus. Looking again to potentially get above that 72.43. We are above the 21 on the weekly side. Those parabolic SARs are nice, pushing us higher, getting us elevation here, getting some more altitude. Looking for us this kind of consolidating. We did have a squeeze, nothing really fired. It looks like they're still paying a dividend, so that's great, right? Looking for 72.43. If that can break above that, looking then for 82. But really looking for this to really start getting back up to that $93 level if we can really get things up and moving here. On the daily side, tight consolidation here. We failed at that $72 twice now, but we really need to see that strength with that squeeze setting up. RSI and volumes on oscillator potentially pop above that. So that's a great looking chart, actually. It's a good looking thing there, Kelly. Ash, can we look at T? Can we look at it's T, not T-Mobile. That's AT&T. This thing again, it's just kind of been just kind of like a little black kind of company. I think they're trying to sell that DirecTV, right? I don't know. I'm getting these yawns. I'm sorry, guys. Looking for I think they're trying to sell DirecTV, right? I can't remember, but really looking for it's been this super long squeeze. Now it's kind of firing to the downside. Potential support kind of coming in around that 28 to even down to around 28. Sorry, 28 even to around 27.50 to the downside. If it can hold that pattern, it could be a nice little retracement trade. But this is nothing. This is not a sexy stock. This is just the AT&T stock. Like, to the downside, it's not looking pretty even here on the weekly side. Potentially even looking to continue going lower, even down to again that $28 to $27. Thoughts on shorting W might have some room down. Yeah, W took on a lot of heat due to the fact, again, it's just been running up so hot. Really breaking through that 50-day here. with no really signs of some support kind of coming in. We are seeing some consolidation trying around that 50 SMA here, the simple moving averages, and then the 55 EMA. But this thing looks really choppy here. For the bulls to win here, we need to see the 5 and 8 start leveling off here and start curling through the 21. If the bears want to take over, they need to drive those 5 and 8 moving averages continuously lower and start getting below that 242 to around 235 to the downside. Initial support kind of coming in around 225.75. How's GS looking? Okay, the chat window just updated. Hopefully I just lost some stuff here. Last one I saw something was asking about GS. Then I see the next one, it says Ryan Ken loves a good looking chart. I do love a good looking chart. So with GS, the financial industry, they take your money, they manipulate money, and they turn it into more money somehow. It's like an easy bake ovens of the financial industry. This thing looks super interesting. We're looking for that really tight consolidation between the 215 to basically the 195ish range, kind of pinballing around, looking for that potentially to break higher or lower on this squeeze here, looking for some consolidation around the 204 level. But if this can really get moving to the upside, we're looking for $242. That's again if the overall banking industry can get a nice little lift there. And then Zach, what's up, Zach? Says Tesla. Yeah, we look at Tesla. Always love to look at Tesla. Tesla, whew, got battery day coming up. Got so many things looking for that going forth. This one, again, long-term shareholder here, looking for some potential support to the downside around 330. Seeing the 5 and 8 potentially starting to level off here around the 21 EMA. If this price can consolidate here a little bit to start getting around the 385 to around 365, kind of consolidating here a little bit to build that base into battery day, which is towards the end of the month, if I'm right. Maybe the end of the month, like the 28th or something like that. Did I think of that right? 28th or something? I don't know where it was. But this is definitely going to be a very exciting time for a lot of folks to kind of see how that plays out. Yeah, I think, sorry, I didn't mean to diss your team or AT&T, but it's definitely a nice dividend stock. But again, it's slightly looking like it wants to trend lower. So potentially it would be a nice buying opportunity to potentially slowly buy it on a cost basis on the way down. David says FMCI. David, what is another SPAC here? What is this? Is this the one this is the Fisker one? I always get these confused now. Oh, it's the 22nd. Okay, thank you for the correction. Is that on Tuesday? Not this week, the following week. Oh, snap. I'm on vacation that day. We need to do a live stream though. Let me add that to my calendar. 1 second, folks. I was going to tell Siri to do it, but she's stupid sometimes. There we go. Oh, this one's the Tattooed Chef. Frozen view. Okay. So this is, which actually, I had some of their stuff at Costco. They had a really good, like, a Mexican street corn kind of frozen dish. It was really good. Where am I going on vacation? I am going to the beach. I'm not going to tell you which beach, though. It's on the East Coast. This little family spot. Just renting a little place and just getting away, relaxing. Let the little kiddo play on the beach. Build some sandcastles. Okay, I'm losing track here, guys. My brain's gonna go blah. Robert, what's up, Robert? Apple. Yeah, we can look at Apple again. Apple, we're really seeing this kind of come through here with, again, beaten down with so many different sections. Looking for 107 to 108 hold. If 107 and 108 does not hold, we're looking for some around $100. But if that 107, 108 does hold, we're looking for this potentially to start base building around that 110 to 111 range to potentially see some higher prices come in if we can start building a modest base here. I'm still gonna making videos. I have the a Mac laptop which I can stream still. I should have pretty good internet at that little place. Yeah, with everything with the pandemic and everything, a lot of our potential plans were canceled due to vacations. We're planning to go to the old Disney or visit family in LA, but this wasn't in the cards due to the pandemic of stuff. Not in the Hamptons. No, not there yet, my friend. AZ, yes, I am really dyslexic. Send it says cake. Is that a ticker symbol, or should you tell me to eat cake? Because I would love some cake. White Sands. Where's White Sands? I heard that before. Burns says AQB. Uh, a guacamole tree. Is this a weed stock? Oh, it's cheesecake. Yeah. Okay, okay. I'm sorry. So this one, I don't know what this is. Look, swing high to swing low. Looking at some key levels at $3.73. Potentially, if it can break above that, there's no squeeze or anything indicating. Getting a lot of really strange volume days coming in here. If it can hold above basically $3.47, we could see $4, but it's failing here at $4 the one time. But if it can get any kind of momentum and some strong buying into the stock, we're looking for potentially the 455 to around 513 to the upside. Ryan says Microsoft. Yeah, Microsoft. I think Microsoft's going to be definitely some kind of a buying opportunity. Maybe not straight out tomorrow on the TikTok news. People might even be happy. You never know when people are surprised. That is definitely going to be that move there. Looking for that potential support around $200. If that can't hold, we're looking for potential support around 192 to the downside. Again, I have no idea how they're going to handle that. Going to check that movement to the downside on potential that TikTok deal. AZ says everyone's smart. Put puts on Tesla, Apple, and even Amazon. Yeah, you have every right to do that, Az. Cake. Yeah, let's look at cake. We talked about this the other day. This is actually one was I didn't actually like too much. Potentially kind of failing here. But if we get any good positive news, this can easily run up. But to the downside, we're looking kind of potentially, it's at a pretty key level. If it breaks below 26.26, that can easily run down to 21-ish dollars and 77 cents. That being said, I haven't been to the Cheesecake Factory for at least a couple of years, and I've never had their cheesecake, so which is strange. But I wish them the best. But I think it kind of ran up a little bit too fast on the potential movement, because if I remember right, they were really struggling during the pandemic and really just weren't able to pay their landlords and everything. Going to check on the fires on Keller. Yeah, I didn't want to. Yeah, I'm getting pictures from my uncle and my brother of just how orange it is out there. I know Alpaca has been posting some stuff on Discord as well. You'll buy me a piece. Thank you, Makeshift. I appreciate that. Is dyslexic a boomer thing? No, dyslexic is a learning disorder that's usually broken down from a learning specialist. Um, says thoughts on a Snow IPO on the 15th. It's going to run. That Snow IPO is definitely going to be a huge move. Um, it's going to be very difficult to get in front of that. I think that's just going to move so much. It's going to be a nice fireworks show to see explode higher. I live on Miami Beach for 15 years. South Beach. I'm not good. I haven't been to Miami before. Is it nice? You don't think Cake's gonna go anywhere? Uh, I hope not either, because again, it's a nice little franchise, and it's always a nice little spot to see in the mall. But if it really does break below that 26th level, that's going to be a nice key level for me. To the downside, that $21 is more on the extreme side. We'll see how that plays out, but definitely if it can hold this pattern, especially around the 21 and 34, that trend, that 21 is still somewhat intact. Again, that yellow line still going upwards to the right, so that $33.50 is still somewhat intact. So yeah. Can you check out Nvidia, please? Yeah, we can look at Nvidia. So Nvidia, nice crazy move recently. Not recently, but last couple months, but then recently, the last 2 weeks or a week and a half, hit an all-time high and then just like gave it right back. Hit that limit around 583, which we talked about on a couple times. Potentially looking for some support here around the 21 and 34. Really some support around 480. If 480 can hold, we can definitely look for some potential just like trading sideways base building. But again, this is going to be really tied to a lot of the NASDAQ performance and overall those industries of the tech heavy side of things. Boomers love cheesecake. I love cheesecake too, Ryan. Actually, my neighbor who just retired, he asked what he want. I asked him what he wants. I'm like, hey, you want a nice bottle of whiskey, bourbon? What do you want? And he's like, nah, I'll take a cheesecake. And Ryan's so right. The boomer wanted the cheesecake. I bought him a nice cheesecake from our bakery down the street. You gotta show love to the boomers, right? He's like, the Ken, I'm getting out of this stuff. I'm getting too old for this drama. I'm retiring. Microsoft 10 billion Jedi contract sets dangerous precedent, saying Amazon Web Services. Trump calls Jeff Bezos. Jeff Bezos is mocking tweet. So who won that contract? Did Amazon win that? Because I know Google's like, yeah, we're not going to deal with that, and they stepped out. I thought Amazon did win that army. Market is so bearish. Even if the moon, even if it moons this week, it will drop in the next one. Not sure what that means. Come say hey if you ever in Santa Cruz. Where's Santa Cruz? How far is that from like Hermosa and what's the other Manhattan Beach? How far is that from that, Alpaca? Big Daddy J Powell's going to make my calls print tomorrow. He's got to turn the printer on. Hopefully. We're seeing the S&P 500 up over 1% now. Nasdaq nearly 0.14, and the rut kind of coming in as well. We're seeing the weird thing is the bonds have not really just kind of been trading sideways as well. The VIX is kind of coming off down 3%. Where's gold at? Gold's up 0.5% here, just kind of just nibbling, trading sideways. So yeah. SE Unlimited, yeah, I like that one a lot. Curious, so that's definitely one. Um, to SE is definitely one I was going to be looking to buy potentially. So SE is potentially looking between trading between the 21 and 34. Nice base building. If it stays above 137, we can see some consolidation base building here and see that movement higher, consolidating and really getting to try to break above that 155 target. South Beach Trader says yes, but avoid Memorial Day weekends at all costs. Okay, I don't like big crowds. I don't like I don't like big. I like to. I'm an introvert, so. Ivan says Uber. Yeah, we can look at Uber. Uber, we're looking for some potential resistance at that $38. We saw that previously, that movement to that level here, and that kind of gave a strong hit that level and then came back pretty strong. Potentially could be happening again, but be mindful of that. But if we get any kind of good news, or they're acquiring someone or whatever, can really see that price print higher to around $41. Ken, boomer status confirmed. It's definitely, yeah, it's confirmed. Boomers are known as they literally look at all for the same data. All right, thanks AZ for your input. Alpacas is 5 miles away. It's only 5 miles away. 5K miles. 5 kilometer miles? What do you mean 5,000 miles away from California? Manhattan Beach is in California though, and he lives in Hermosa Beach. And then I have family in like Hollywood area, the nicer part of Hollywood area, which I think they call Beverly Hills, right? Um, Ninja was one of the first investors on PayPal. I don't know who is Ninja a keyword. Who works for Peter Thiel? Now works for Peter Thiel. Oh, okay. You're talking about something else. Okay, I'm just gonna ignore you, AZ. Might grab a cheap weekly LQD call for PAL. What's LQD? Man, you guys know about all these other ETFs I have no idea about. This definitely could pop without, yeah, if it goes well. Lululemon looks like a nice cliff for skydiving. That's a great way to put it. I love it. That is so cool. I like that. Oh, I put too many L's there. Lululemon. Each time I think of Lululemon, I want to eat lemons, like a nice lemon cake, maybe a lemon cheesecake. Anywho, they're definitely ready for some skydiving or deep sea diving, jumping off here. Basically, with the 5 and 8 aggressively crossing through the 21. With this earnings, I don't know what happened here. If like their inventory is a problem, I didn't really look into the earnings report or the key takeaways. But with the 5 and 8 potentially just crossing aggressively through the 21 here, that's never a good sign. And usually after earnings, I don't want to touch a stock for 3 to 4 days. And we're kind of at that 3 to 4 days marker. We're looking for that potentially support initially to come in here around 308. But if 308 can't hold, we're looking for potentially some lower prices around 490. 292. And oh, far enough from LA. Oh, okay. LMK, you've come to Vegas. I have never been to Vegas, honestly, Make. I don't know if that's a city for me. I'm not a gambler. What is LMK? Does that stand for something? I heard they have good food in Vegas, right? Lemonade. Yeah, lemon. You guys are talking about a lot of food here today. Cake, lemonade. So Lemonade is that like new what is it? The insurance company that kind of came open. Really, again, not doing too hot. Like I normally say about movers with especially IPO markets, you really get that huge pop and then that like flop. I would want to wait for another 1 or 2 quarters to kind of see how this plays out. Potentially short-term support kind of coming ring around $50. We had a lot of resistance here around 67, so that $50 range could be potential base building here, but this has taken on a lot of damage and it's kind of not the world's biggest fan right now. Potentially looking for some upward momentum. It needs to start breaking above $56 to $60, but this thing has been kind of beaten up. We are seeing the 5 and 8 moving averages starting to level off here, so let me know. Okay, what is Vegas? Is Vegas worth my time? I don't do. I haven't actually. Like I said, I haven't been traveling next to nothing lately. With the 5 and 8 moving averages, just kind of just trading sideways, potentially looking for some short term bottom there. We did purple. Purple looks like fairly strong. It can easily hit $34 if things go much higher. SLV silver. It's the silver is consolidating here. If you've never seen a consolidation pattern, this is what it looks like. Like we talked about it in this box, it's kind of just trading sideways. It's really getting super tight in this range here. And potentially if it stays above basically 24 to around 24.75, it can pop to the upside and break out of this box to around 27 to 28, potentially test 30. If it wants to break to the downside and get negative, it needs to break below that 24, 23-ish level to break really below or to around the $20 level. So you're basically playing the risk of the reward of like what could happen unless you have some a different agenda. It's basically looking for that huge swing higher to 30, or it can come back down to 20. Lego, thank you for the $1, my friend. I appreciate it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Did I answer your question though? I forget what your question was. Baba's Rocket, another company that just came as an IPO. We talked about this one previously as well. Looking for some support kind of coming around 2250 to around 2360 here. Kind of base building here. Would like to see this moving averages start trading sideways and get that nice little kick higher, start breaking above $26 to $25 to the upside. Makeshift says, let me know. And Vegas is a new experience. I know you're an introvert and I am too, but there's crazy fun people all over, entertaining shows and food. I'm all about food there, Makeshift. Good food. Kelly, Ken, what's your thoughts on LMT? Is that Lockheed Martin? I like Lockheed Martin and Northrop Grumman, so NOC and LMT. Basically, just kind of in this really strange capitulation area, just trading sideways here. Really looking at that, potentially holding that 375-ish range with a large move just like the end of Friday. If we can get this squeeze to fire long, we're looking for a break above 400 within Lockheed Martin. I don't know what's really going on there. I don't know if this is more of a bet on the election kind of system, because again, if Trump wins again, there's going to be definitely some more skewed towards the defense contracting companies. Thoughts on Albertson? That's the grocery store chain that is in Florida. I don't. Is it Albertson, Florida? I don't remember. Also, another new IPO that kind of came on the market. This is actually its third time, I believe, that kind of came on the market. Really just kind of getting beat up here. Again, I don't like to buy these new IPO stocks because it's usually just kind of, it didn't really run up like crazy, like like what I'm trying to think on top of my head. Like Beyond Meat had a huge run up on earnings on IPO and just kind of flopped and just kind of been trading sideways. Now finally coming to fruition and getting its true value. I don't know too much about the grocery store business. I know it's a tough business and it's all about margin. This kind of looks like it has been beaten up here, potentially looking for that low around 13. We can look at a very basic fib here for you, my friend. If it can hold and break above that 21 EMA, which is around 1430, we can potentially see some testing around that 50% move from the swing high to swing low, which is around 1475. But we're really looking for that 1519 or 1520 to come in for that potential kick higher to really get that back of that mojo in that stock. Alpaca, yeah, workhorse. We looking for that potential upside. I think they actually own 10% of that Diamond whatever company, or that Lordstown electric company that's also starting in Ohio, potentially looking for some consolidation around $22 to $23 to get that momentum going, potentially get that kick to $25 to even $28 there. Josh says GM appears to be at the super support level and may be back to 33. What do you think? Yeah, so it definitely has a really key support around $30. If it can stay above $30, we're definitely looking for the next target around $34.33. If it doesn't break, if it breaks below that $30 price target, we're really looking for some lower prices around 28 and then down to 27. Because again, it's been kind of beaten up here. Forecast for tech, especially Apple, Tesla, TikTok news. Lewis, it's going to be very difficult because, again, I have no idea how the hell they value TikTok, and I wouldn't add too much value to it, but and especially Oracle buying it, that seems super strange. Tesla's definitely be one I'm looking to kind of see it hold around 385, 360 ish. To potentially base build, and same with Apple. Apple we covered multiple times, looking for Apple to potentially hold and stay above the 107 108 range. If it does, we're looking for some tight consolidation here around the 111 to 112. If it starts breaking below 107 to 108 to the downside, and by the breakdown I mean it closes below 107 108, we could definitely see $100 price target come into play there. High flying Tesla stock could be getting ready for a fold. Many analyses are giving big growth opportunities, though. Yeah, we'll see. What do you think about the Oracle Nvidia news? Nvidia, I'm glad that they are finally getting able to buy the Chinese ARM company, but I haven't read if did the Chinese approve of that, and then also I think the Chinese have to approve of Oracle buying the TikTok part. I haven't read the articles. Curious says, I just sent a $5 sticker. Why didn't it show up? I don't know, my friend. I'm sorry if it didn't. Hopefully you get your money back. I didn't see it. Thank you for the support, though. Because I don't see anything coming through on my end. Let me look at the. I think I didn't miss it, did I? Yeah, I don't see anything on the viewer activity tab here. I'm sorry, my friend. I didn't see it. Kelly D's, what do you think about Upwork? Oh, something just came through. What was that? Oh, you became a member. Thank you, my friend. Appreciate it. Thank you for the ongoing support. Let's see here. Where was I? Kelly D is asking about Upwork. No, not many people have talked about that. It's been a very tight consolidation pattern here as well. With that movement higher, we're looking for some tight range around $15. We are seeing a squeeze setting up here. We are seeing some a little bit less volume coming in, which is all a good sign to really for a potential breakout. We really need to see those parabolic SARs being broken out. So we get a break above like the 1575 to 1580. We can easily see that 1741 target be set there as well, and then really looking for that $20 target really being met. If this doesn't want to break and get some negative news, we can easily see some downside pressure kind of coming in around the 1275, which is kind of the upward trending 200 EMA as well there. Oracle going up, in my opinion, at least in temporary. Yeah, if you look at Oracle stock, it has not done much of anything for like the longest time. What am I looking for? Shoot. I looked at that along. Let's see here. Why doesn't it save? Oracle's like OCL, right? Something like that. Is it OCL? I don't know Oracle off the top of my head. They don't trade that thing. It's an OLC. I don't remember. Let me Google it. Makeshift with the $5. Thank you, my friend. Appreciate it. What is that? Is it two little characters playing the trumpet? I love it. Thank you. That's awesome. Oh, ORCL. Thank you, guys. Yeah, this one is like look at this one. This is literally have done next to nothing the past 3 years, and now they're buying TikTok. Isn't that funny? Like, it's very entertaining to be honest. Like, this the stock has done really next to nothing, and it's owning the hottest millennial social whatever it's called TikTok. I just find it funny, like what, like if people want to be talking about the end of the market and the end of the bull run, this is sign number one right here. Just joking. Where did you get your technical knowledge from? A lot of books, a lot of learning, and I did take a couple learning mentorships from some prominent traders many years ago. Alan says Ford. Yes, you and I are in the Ford, playing the old favorite boomer. I'm looking for that $6.80 to hold to the downside, and looking for that potential break above $7.46. This is more of a trade for me. As long as it stays above that $6.80 range, I'm still in this sucker and looking for that $7.46 to kind of come in. So if it starts breaking below 780, I'm out. Boom. Thank you for the coming in and supporting the channel. I appreciate that. Let's see here. Alexander says SEBG solar energy stock partner with Tesla. SEDG. Yeah, this is the one, Solar Edge. This one looks like a really strong upward move here. We're seeing again that kind of coming back to that 50-day, that 190 range potentially to hold. It's trading a little bit below that. Excuse me. But with the 5 and 8 still aggressively pointing to the downside, we could easily see some lower prices really potentially filling this gap up here on earnings, potentially coming back down to 172 to 175. If that doesn't hold, we're looking for like 163. But this potentially, the 5 and 8 moving averages need to start curling and start trading sideways here around 190 and start getting these little higher prices to go and start creating some potential base building and a more of a bottom elongated thing that we're talking about here. David, let's look at SPY. Let's look at SPY. So SPY, as of right now, the futures market is up 1.15%. So potentially we're going to be looking, it's basically kind of hovering around that little bit above that 336 range. So 336 range for the SPY to really rebound and get some support and get some really upward momentum, and you want the bulls to win, we need to start seeing that momentum getting above 339 to 340. If you're more on the bearish side, David, you're looking for that potential support around 334 to 333 to fail and break down to the downside to around below 330 and start getting below the 325 to 323 to the downside. So be very mindful of that out there. Guys, on that note, I might call it a night. I got to do a couple more tickers if you guys want to put them in the chat there. But then I'm going to start winding down and recharging the old batteries so we can get a nice full day of exciting stuff happening tomorrow and see how everything plays out. Definitely going to be working on and looking at those fun stuff, seeing on what Nikola really comes out the next coming days, because I think, if I remember right, he went pretty crazy on Twitter, right? And he went pretty crazy on Instagram, but then instantly took some of that stuff down because it wasn't a good idea for that. Do you have a set stream time, Lewis? I normally do Sundays, and then I try to do at least one or twice during the week for like market recaps, or if anything big happens, or if there's some kind of big investor day or some really key earnings. But normally on Sundays. The only thing is on the following Sunday, the next Sunday from this next week, is that I will be out. I will be trying to do some other live streams during the week, potentially with Battery Day as well, coming out. But we'll see on how that plays out. If my setup is and the internet is pretty good at the beach house there. We did FMCI. That's the frozen food company, right? FMCI. Yeah, the huge volume coming in here. Again, with that kind of cup handle kind of scenario here, looking for the initial 24.57 to kind of hold. Looking for that potentially to trade sideways here. If that momentum can continue, we're looking for $31. But again, that the support to the downside is around 22, and then around $21, 22, then $20 to the downside. But this is again a SPAC, so it's very FOMO heavily driven on that kind of action there. Thank you everyone for coming out. Yeah, yes. Dustin says QCOM. Oh, I used to love that company. I still do, but I kind of got out of it. Got out this move here. Potentially just trading sideways here. It did get hit with the overall sell-off of all the tech stuff, but with that moving sideways here between 113 to 110, potentially trading sideways and start building somewhat of a stronger base to potentially build a support barrier to potentially go higher. If that breaks, we're really looking for around 105 to the downside. Yeah, he deleted all his tweets. He did. I'm sure he did. His lawyer, his counsel, or whatever, sure did. Have you done SQ? We have done SQ, but we'll do it for you, my friend. SQ is something that we, not a big fan of the Jack Dorsey, but I think it's a great company, and it's trying to do great things. It's the yellow line, which is the 21 EMA, has been pretty much a pretty straight up 45-degree angle. Now it's kind of curling and leveling off here. You see that with the 5 and 8 moving average crossing through here. Potential support around 133. If 133 doesn't hold, we're looking for around 128 to 125 to the downside. But if that 133 holds and we can start consolidating here and the 5 and 8 can start getting out of this negative range, we're basically looking for 147 and start testing that 170 price target again. I said it says I expect Nikola to be a bloodbath. It's definitely going to be a crazy show. It's going to be a rodeo. Alan says, can we look at PEG? Public Service Enterprise. I don't even know what this does. They pay a nice dividend there. That's a really nice dividend there. That's a nice looking stock there. Nice little steady Eddie stock there. That's a good looking chart. I actually like this one, Alan. This kind of just, of course, had that dip with the overall pandemic, everything, but now it's kind of coming back. A little bit of choppy on the way up here, but now it's kind of potentially leveling off here, potentially seeing, before this all happened, I was trending around a little around 60 to 65. What am I doing here? Yeah, so around $52 is nice support level, even down to around 51. If this can continue to support, no squeeze or earnings on the horizon, doesn't look like it moves too much, potentially seeing a nice little work its way up to around $57.67. Anonymous American SHLL, another SPAC. This is the Helion or Helion. I don't know how to say it. Of course, they're another trucking company, which actually does have a product, but this one is just gangbusters as well, potentially hitting a little bit more of a potential fade here and looking for some support kind of coming around $41. If $41 to even $42 can hold, we could potentially get a base building here and just continue to go higher. What's the big news on FMIC? I don't know, Bets. I don't know why a frozen food company is getting so much love, to be quite honest. Kelly D, you're very welcome. Very much, you're welcome. Send it, you're very welcome as well. I like this SHLL as well because, again, it actually has a product, right? What is your favorite stock? Oh, that's a difficult one. It changes so much. What is my favorite stock right now? That's a great question. That is a great question. I'm going to say FedEx, FDX. If it has a great earnings, I think it could really go higher. It's paid dividends over 100 years. Yeah, that's a great looking stock there, Alan. Those new cards on NVIDIA look fantastic. NVIDIA is basically holding the 34 EMA, so we'll see how that plays out. Guys, I want to wrap it up here. I'm getting quite tired here. Definitely going to be doing some more live streams this week, potentially like maybe a recap. I would potentially want to do there's some interesting news coming out the couple days, potentially doing one on Wednesday after hours, like in the evening, potentially talking about the overall movement in the Jay Powell speech and some comments from that. We'll see how that plays out. But thank you everyone. Okay, let me do. Oh, sorry, Mohammed. Can we do W? That's a Wayfair. Yeah, Wayfair has kind of been hit here with like a lot of those other companies. With that being said, we're looking for some potential support here initially around 245, which is the bottoms of these wicks here. If that doesn't hold and the selling continues, we're looking for really that low or price around 220 to 225 to the downside, showing that there as well. Again, to the upside, if we want to see that going positive, we need to see those 5 and 8 start curling and breaking above the 21. So we need to start seeing it basically above 280 to around 285 to the upside. What's the dividend on FedEx? I have no idea what the dividend on FedEx is. I'm literally just a longer term investor in this. I don't think it pays a little bit, 65 cents a share. But again, the shares price is pretty expensive. I like this potentially to break to 234 to potentially 275. Guys, on that note, I greatly appreciate it, and I'll definitely keep you guys informed on what we do for the book club and how we do it. If we're just going to do it members only or what, I don't know what we're going to do. If we're going to do it on Zoom so we can see people's faces, I don't know if people are going to talk, if people even want to share their thoughts, but that's definitely could be a fun experience to do, talking about some business or stock trading books that we could share and just have some fun with there. Again, guys, thank you so very much for watching. This is Ken from the Dyslexic Investor, and I'll catch you guys on the flip side. Peace.